Dean, I'm really, really excited that you're on with us tonight. I'm just honored. I know that you have a ton of stuff going on. You're a huge producer, so I know this is probably like 4 appointments for you in this hour that we're taking up. So thanks so much for joining us.
Don't apologize. When you reached out, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I love it. Because I was talking to Desiree early because we were supposed to have an annuity meeting earlier. And she was like, I'm sorry, you could probably book somebody else. I was like, actually, I'm still the old school way. Thursdays are my office days. I don't do anything else except try to organize things and get things done. So when you text me, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. I love it. First of all, thank you for thinking of me, because for me to be a part of a meeting like this and, watching people come in, learn, grow, build a community, and then, being asked to speak is really huge for me. I mean, it's always an honor. Fun fact, Grady invited me to speak on one of his Zooms next week. I'm like, love it. And I got to go to corporate on Monday and do a podcast there. It's like, what happened? Like, I'm not that popular, but I guess I am.
Well, when you write $1 gazillion of insurance, you become pretty popular, Dean.
It does. It's such a crazy thing, because when I started, I'm gonna give you guys a quick 5-minute background about me. When I started in this business, mind you, I'm an old timer in FF. I got my license in December of 2017. A lot of you guys are here probably new. Who's like the veteran in your group here, Marissa? Who's like the longest?
The longest.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be me.
How many years are you here now with
I'm
FFL?
coming up on I'm coming up on 4. I
Four.
think
Okay, so
3 odd
I
might
have
be.
3 more years on top of your experience with FFL, right? And just to give you guys an idea, if you guys started when I started, probably 90% of you would have quit the first month then, because it was bad. Not bad in a sense of like the company, but in resources. We didn't have CRMs. We didn't have leads. Like, trust me, when I say we didn't have leads, we did not have leads almost 7 years ago. What we have now, if I had these resources 7 years ago, I would have probably hit 1 million every single year after that, because it's ridiculous to see what we have and what we can do to the capacity of anywhere, truly anywhere. Now, is everybody doing telesales in your team, Marissa? Is that what your group is doing pretty much?
Yeah, I would say majority. I would say 90% for sure.
Okay. Do you still have people that are doing it face to face?
We have a couple producers that do
Got it.
face.
Okay. What are your face to face peeps doing roughly per month?
I would say maybe 15.
15 to 20. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. So I'll give you a secret. I am 100% face to face to this day. And I chose to do it that way because for me, I'm very keen on face to face relationship building. And not to say I can't do telesales. I've done telesales. I still do like reviews. I'll still do, referrals and all that stuff. And I'm slowly transitioning into the lead system we have with the telesales system. Regardless of which avenue you're doing, just understand what you have available. It's ridiculous. Like, out fucking rageous. Pardon my French. I'm very transparent. It's out fucking rageous what we have. If I offend anybody, tell me to shut up. I will. When I started, like, there was nothing. I was given a stack of leads, maybe 120. These were hand-filled mailers, which used to cost $90 a piece, by my old mentor, that he had in a pile that was unprocessed. He said, call these people. I'm like, what do I do? Call them and tell them you received the form they sent. And I'm like, okay, this sucks. I don't know what to do. So I just decided to call them. I got my ass kicked. People curse me out. People tell me to stop calling them. So I did what most people wouldn't do. I got in my car and I door knocked every single lead that was available in my hands. And because I applied myself to what was given to me, mind you, I came in this business with literally $500 to my name. I had a repossessed vehicle. 3 years prior to that, I had a bankruptcy. I had nothing. I was like on the bottom of the barrel, like trying to crawl out. And it's like you keep drowning and drowning and drowning. And I had this opportunity presented. And I just said, okay, I have nothing else to. And while I was trying to make this work, I was applying at like a bartending position at Dave and Buster's, which is kind of funny. as soon as I made my first sale here, they called me for an interview. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I made my first $3,000 here because I went to work and I closed a lead that was a year old because nobody helped them. And then it made me realize, holy hell, this is not hard. And then a month after we started getting leads. Like we had a final expense vendor come on board, and then we had like another internet vendor come on board a few months after, and then it started really, really evolving. So my first year in 2018, I really started working this business in March, and I part-timed it at best, honestly. I was in the gym twice a day. I did 3 appointments a day. I would go to this one. I get 1 no-show. 1 was declined. I closed 1. I made $1,200. It was more than what I made at my previous job. I was like, I'm happy. And then all of 2018, I was willing to just kind of expose myself to the failures, which means I was not afraid of failing. I was like, okay, what happens, happens. I'll learn from it. So I was not afraid to call my mentor 20 times a day, to the point where I apologized to him. I'm like, hey, I'm really, really sorry I'm calling you. He goes, why are you apologizing? You're learning. Now, how many people call you, Marissa, on a daily basis asking for guidance? Like, do you have a handful of people doing that still?
Yeah.
Good. Keep doing that, because every time you call and you plug into somebody that knows something more than you, that's when you learn. Even if Marissa does not know it, I guarantee she's going to call somebody that knows the answer and is going to relay the message to you on what you're looking to. This was the key component to success for me. And then 2019, I was like, I'm going to flip the script on what I need to do do more. Well, I got to buy more leads. So I went from like 500 a week to 750 a week in leads, 1,200 a week. I do $4,000 a week right now, today, in lead investment.
Dean, when you first started buying leads, were you uncomfortable about it at all, or did you just know like that's
what the uncomfortable is an understatement. So here's how I made my money in my first I would say 45 days. When I first sold my Paula, first of all, my number one client was my fiance Shauna. That was my first actual client on the books with Americo. And that policy paid me out to go to Dallas convention because I was broke. So it started with the power of meetings like this, but it was a national conference. And mind you, Marissa, national conference in 2018 was only like 900 some agents total nationwide. We have 30,000 plus and only 6,000 show up. And it's like that event changed everything. So when I was getting paid on her policy, I started reading what these policies were doing for people. Like it was the cashback option at that time. We still have it. And I was like, this is phenomenal. I'm going to tell everybody about this product. So I started messaging people on Facebook. Hey, if life insurance, I'm your guy. This is what they can do for you. Get your money back, living benefits, death benefit, the whole 9 yards. And people were like responsive. I was like, yeah, I need a life insurance policy. I'm like, cool, let's meet tomorrow. So I would go out, write $3,000, $2,000, $4,000. So I made like $35,000 in advance payouts from warm market that I knew. And then,
sorry to interrupt you, but what I love so much about that is you still do that. Like you are making a insane amount of money on, with the leads and the clients and everything you do. And you still, to this day, even though you've progressed so much and can sell a ton, you still post on your Facebook like, hey guys, if you need anything, I'm your guy. I see it like all the time.
100%. Why? It's free marketing. You can't compete on free marketing. There's no competition on yourself, meaning you have your network, you talk to people, you let them know. I had a guy message me while I was listening to you guys. Hey, I would like to get a 10-year term. My response was, are you planning on dying in the next 10 years? LOL. That was my response. Like, why would you want a 10-year term? Now let's sit down and talk so I can get you something better. But the point is, I was not afraid to expose myself because I'm a customer service person. I worked in customer service my entire life. I was not afraid of rejection. Objection and rejection was like whatever. But what it taught me was I was not afraid of failing because I got my ass kicked. I had chargebacks. Like I had like 35% chargebacks my first year. It sucked. But every time I got a chargeback, I was like, I'm going to go work harder. I'm going to go work harder. I'll take the last dollar and buy leads. But Marissa, to answer your question, was I afraid of buying leads? Oh, was I afraid? I was sitting on like 20 grand in my bank account, which I've never had before. And my mentor calls me and goes, hey, when are you going to buy some leads? I'm like, I don't know. I still have people to talk to. And he told me one thing that I still use to this day, and I tell everybody. He goes, you do realize you're gonna be part of a NFL club? I was like, NFL club? Yeah, no friends and family left. I was like, and this is what he told me. He goes, do not call me for any more guidance unless you buy leads. Click. And I stood there. Mind you, I was sitting in a parking lot. I just left the house. I didn't get a sale. And I was thinking to myself, either he hates me or he really wants me to succeed. So I picked up my tablet. I went on the Final Expense Renter and I bought $3,000 worth of leads. And I called him. I was like, hey, I bought $3,000 worth of leads. Perfect. Now we're in business. I turned that $3,000 into $12,000. And then I saw the power of what this business truly had. It allowed me to leverage the platform. Mind you, 6, 7 years ago, we didn't have what we have today. We didn't have Zoom. We had conference call IDs to call in and listen to, and those were powerful. And then we had a few little videos. I'm sure you can probably find Frank Euphemia's YouTube videos from 10 years ago teaching about mortgage protection. That's what I was watching. And I learned, I failed. I failed more than what I learned, but I learned more along the way. And then the second year, 2019, I went from like 189 in 2018 to 325. Then I went from 325 into 2020 to 428. Mind you, I moved in the middle of COVID. I went from Virginia to Florida at that time, and I still made a lot more sales. And then I went from my production dropped in 2021, but I was building very heavily. So I had a lot of team on. We're doing like $600,000 a month. And then 2022, I moved again from Florida to North Carolina. I hit Hall of Fame for my second time. Last year, I hit Hall of Fame in both annuities and life. And then this year, I'm again at life. And it's all because of what we have. The only thing I did different, Marissa, I just invested more in myself through lead resources. And I became a lot smarter with handling objections, eliminating them early, listening to people, listening to your clients, potential clients was huge. But I did that by asking a lot of really good questions, like a ton of good questions. And for me, it was the combination of like, okay, how can I get better, but work a lot easier? So I became a lot smarter with talking about the solution. I don't tell them this product. No, John and Mary, this solution is going to fix your problem if you die tomorrow. I stopped saying the word product. I started saying the word solution. I started focusing on their families. If you're helping a mortgage protection client, if they have kids, hey, Mike, if you died unexpectedly tomorrow, does your wife have to forcefully sell the house to take the kids out of the school district that they're in and leave their friends behind that they're used to growing up with? Or would you want them to stay in this house so they can continue the life that you've built together with them? That was value. And when you ask those questions, you're literally like, think about it this way. Every time you call a lead, it's an opportunity, but every lead has a flesh wound. My job is to cut that wound open until they're dying to death and bleeding to death. Literally. Because I need to prevent that wound from literally being cut wide open. And I do that by asking so many questions. I don't even talk about any products. My job is to literally put them in a position where it's uncomfortable. And I do it in a nice way. I'm not rude to anybody, but I do it in a manner of like, okay, who, won, what, when, where, and how. And then the first person to talk loses. If they talk first, I know I got them. But it's all intentionality. And we build this business based on that because we're all going to die someday. We're not immortal. And this is going to fix a financial problem. And just remember, when somebody fills their lead out, just know that it's emotional. It's an emotional request. Nobody wakes up, today's a great day to buy some life insurance. Yay, me. No. They woke up with an emotional thought process and said, hey, I'm screwed or my family's screwed if I don't make it tomorrow. I need to protect that. So it's our job to do that. And that's what the lead platform really did for us, Marissa. I watched it over the last 7 years. COVID was huge for us. It was bad for many people across the world. For us in this business was a blessing. We evolved our company. I watched our company quadruple. We went from October 2019 from 7 million issue paid a month as a company to 40 million a month issue paid, like in a matter of 3 years. Integrity, was a huge partnership of that. I watched that. I was actually one of the only few people that Sean Mike invited to our conference meeting in Philadelphia. Philadelphia. It was like 15 of us, and he talked about going on board with integrity because there weren't many leaders back in the day. Now we have hundreds and thousands of them across the company. And it was really cool to see that evolution of family first from scraps, from nothing to really evolving the last 4 to 5 years. Like what we have now, God, you guys are in such a comfortable position. It's unbelievable. Like take advantage of every minute you can.
Dean, if you had to guess, how many clients do you think you have? Like 1,000 or more?
Probably well over 2,000.
So if you have well over 2,000, how many, I mean, you would had to have, I mean, tens of thousands of meetings, right? Because not everyone buys. So
Yes.
tens of thousands of meetings to get your 2,000 clients.
Easily. I would probably say my book of business retention over the last 5 years is about 85%.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get to that because obviously, I mean, we're all exposed to chargebacks, and you just don't get upset over it. It's going to happen. You will lose. Sean Mike tells us all the time, you will lose 30%. But how you recover from that 30% is what matters the most. How do you recuperate that to keep that stability long term? Now, how many people are on you like new like within a year? Like probably a handful of you guys, a lot of you guys, right?
Yeah, I would honestly Dean probably 50%.
50%. Think about it this way. I'm here 7 years. 7. If you're in this business for short-term gains, cool, but what do you want long-term? For me, this is it. I never thought, Marissa, I was going to be in life insurance. Like when this was presented to me, I just wanted to pay my bills. That was my passion. How do I stop bleeding financially? I just want to get ahead. When I learned to get ahead in a matter of 6 weeks, I was like, now I see what this is all about. And it took one client to change that perspective for me. It was a lead that I kept calling back in 2018. They didn't answer. I decided to door knock him. I knock on the door. The guy comes out. He's in tears. I was like, are you okay? He goes, my wife just died a few days ago. I was like, holy shit. Mind you, I was only thinking about money at that time. That individual changed my perspective of what we did for a living. If I door knocked him maybe a week to 2 sooner, I would have probably helped him out more financially. Luckily, he had some coverage on her. It was like 50,000. It wasn't much. But if I was able to prevent more financial damage long term, it's crazy. You'll learn so much from death claims, how probate works, how assets work, how wills work, like all of these things. You will learn so much more when you get your first death claim. I've probably had 3 dozen by now. It's crazy. One of them happened to be a friend of mine. Wow. 29 years old, died of an aneurysm. 29. And his fiance, who they had a kid together, everything on his behalf went into freaking probate. She couldn't touch anything for 2 years. 2 years. The only thing that paid out Marissa was an annuity that he started with me.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. But you have to like get through your hard times to get to the good times. Everything we do, what we do is not hard. Mind you, this is like the easiest job. But a lot of people get tangled and twisted in emotions because of, oh my God, they hung up on me. So what? Call the next person.
Yeah, Dana, I wanted to make that point with asking you how many clients, guys, because think about this. Dean's done tens of thousands of meetings, right? And some of us on this call are like, I called 3 people and it didn't work, so like it's hard. Or like I called 3 people, like tens of thousands of people, right? That you have to keep dialing, you have to keep calling to get to where you've got to and to be able to help the amount of families you've got to. So like, it's not going to happen, guys, after 10 calls. It's not going to be your first lead batch. It's not going to be, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we talked about Nick at the beginning of the call, who was really struggling for his first 2 weeks, and now he's doing 30K a month. Like, you have to get through those things for you to get good at this. So if you're doing one dial session and you're like, this is really hard, it's going to continue to be hard because that's the point, right? Like, you're learning and get through them. Tens and thousands of people is how many people he's talked to.
Yeah. Think about the amount of leads I purchased. Oh my God. I looked at my CRM, just my ILC stuff. I have like hundreds of pages of leads available still. Like it's crazy just to look back and the amount of leads I bought and invested in myself. But that's the game we play.
Yeah.
Um, you can't. It's hard to get over your emotions when things don't go the way that you want them to go. Just know you can't force it. When it comes to this business, you can't force it. Like if I talk to Desiree and I ask Desiree, hey, what's your goal? Like, what is your true why? Why do you want to do this? Not because of just money. I get it. Money's phenomenal. Like, heck, it changed my life. We got a great house. We got $300,000 worth of cars. We got all that shit. But what is your true why? Where do you want to go? If you're stopping at 20 grand a month, like, cool. That's fine and dandy, but just know you're basically a 9 to 5 W-2 employee at that rate. Why? Because you got to write off your leads, you write off your expenses. That's 240 grand. You'll probably write off 60% of it, so you pay less taxes. You're still making 70 to 120 grand a year. Congratulations, you're a corporate employee to yourself. I hate to tell you, you're not an entrepreneur. You're not like if you start marketing yourself, I'm doing 15 grand a month. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to influencer. You're not jack diddly shit. Pardon my French. You're not. You're really not. You're barely scraping on the bottom of the barrel because cost of living is this high right now. And you're always going to be that hamster on the wheel doing this. And eventually you're going to get burnt out and tired. And you're going to fall off that wheel and you're going to fall and crumble. You're not making money until you do 40 grand. Minimum. I need 30 grand to pay my bills plus business expenses every month. $30,000 because I changed my lifestyle because of FFL. Does that mean that's you? No, I'm not saying go buy $1 million house or spend $300,000. That's my choice. But my point to this is, and I try to tell this to everybody, don't be so comfortable where you're at all the time. Challenge yourself in ways where, okay, if Desiree is doing 10K a week, Desiree, how can we get you to 15? Well, look at your calendar. Marissa, I'm very, very like schedule oriented. Like it's hard to like wrap my mind what I do. I'll be more than happy to share with you guys how I track my business every single freaking week, every single month, every single year, because to me, a calendar is so important of my success. And my first year I was doing this. I'll wake up at 10, I'll go to the gym, I have 3 appointments, I'll go back to the gym, I'll eat dinner, we'll go to a movie, whatever. Now it's intentionality. I block a morning time for my workout schedule. I'll have appointments the rest of the day. Mondays, Thursdays, office days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I'm running. Sunday is my rollover day. If I don't make something, if I have to make an exception for an individual, I'll do it. Otherwise, Sunday is my peaceful day. I'll just clear my head and do whatever. I'll spend time with Shauna. We'll play with the puppies. We'll take them out, whatever. But I'm very, very intentional. And I try to eliminate all the white space as much as possible. I still do 30 appointments face-to-face every single week, minimum. That's face-to-face. The advantage to telesales, I can probably do 60. But I do not want to do 60 because that's my schedule. But for some of you guys to get ahead, you have to do that. You have to make a bit of a sacrifice. I don't have kids. We don't have any kids to raise, so we don't have to worry about taking care of that part. But for a lot of you parents, single parents or married couples who have kids, know that you have to make a bit of an adjustment to get ahead. Not forever, just a little bit. If you didn't hit your goals in your week, in your 7 days, you have to make sacrifices the second and third week so that you're ahead for week 4. That's the beautiful part about this business. Marissa, when I saw this opportunity, I saw control of my life because it was my decision to be able to do things the way I wanted to, but I knew that I had to earn them so I can reward myself. Like we spent 12 days in Germany. Cool. I was working like a dog, like around the clock, 6 days a week to get ahead so I can go to Germany comfortably. I went ahead. Annuity was finalized. I was on vacation like this, 30 grand hit my bank account in 10 days. I was like, I love this. You can't do that anywhere else, but you have to earn those times. So understand where you want to go. My biggest challenge to me was I wrote down my goals, but I did it through a vision board, not through like writing them on notes. I created a vision board, how I wanted it. And every time I created a vision, man, God was good to me. It came true because I just focused on the work part. It just happened on one day. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened one day. We told ourselves back in 2019, hey, we would love to live in Florida one year. Cool. We just went to work. Next, you know, a year went by. We're like, hey, we're ready to go to Florida. We're good now. And then things happened. So that's the beautiful part, Marissa, about this. You have to take control where it matters the most in all aspects of this business. If you're doing 10K a month, ask yourself if that's enough after you write all your expenses off. Probably not. And I always preach the 50-50 rule. 50% of what you make in deposits is not yours. It's just not. If you're earning 10,000 net in a month, 5,000 is business expenses. Taxes, business write-offs, leads. It's gone. If you're not doing it that, you're going to be in a big trouble.
So do
And
you
the
think,
other-
the
Go ahead.
40K mark, and we talk about this all the time, the
Yeah.
40K mark is really when you go from getting by in the business to getting ahead in the business?
You're really at 40,000, you start to learn what thriving is all about. 50,000 is bonusable. Now you're paying yourself a bonus. 60 plus, now you can consider yourself an entrepreneur if you're doing 60,000 every month. Honestly.
So we talked about schedules, obviously super, super important to have that. Like your schedule is very, very tight. You are running your 30 in-person appointments a week, which equates to probably, guys, 60 to 80 to 90 virtual appointments, right? You need to double or triple the appointments for virtual. So outside of the schedule, Dean, what else would you say are like part of that recipe? Like, what are the other things? Like your schedule has to be tight. What else is there between going from, you know, hey, I was doing 15K a month to now I'm doing 40. What else is like part of that recipe to get there?
The second part was that sacrificing your time. Like I know somebody here asked, hey, what would you do if you're working full time? You got to sacrifice that time as much as you can so you can get ahead. First of all, if you're working a full-time job and you really love your full-time job, great. Keep that if you love it. If this is a means of you making money on the side, then work your white space wherever you can feel comfortable at, right? For me, Marissa, it was like I was tired of being broke. And I realized 15,000 you make, you can spend it in a matter of in an hour. It's not that hard. It really isn't. You can go find some stuff, buy it online, whatever, it's gone. I needed to say, okay, if I want to get ahead, I need to do more. So I sacrificed the downtime that I was enjoying to get further ahead. So that took me from 15 to 30. I was like, cool, I'm doing 30, but this guy up here, Steve Giordano, is doing 70, 80. I'm like, F that guy, I'm going after him. Then I started challenging myself really deeply because I'm competitive like that. But not in a bad way, it's a good way because essentially you learn so much more. How much pressure can you take before your lid blows off? For telesale, it's a little bit different because like Marissa said, you got to almost triple the amount of people you talk to get your goals because it's quick to hang up. It's not so hard to get objections when you're face to face with people because you're kind of like right there with them and you can challenge them a little bit more. On the phone, you got to do the same thing. That's when your approach and your presentation has to make sense. Like, who's your top producer in this group right now?
Digna. She writes a lot
Digna.
of IUL business.
If I was you guys, I would talk to Digna every single day with as much time as she has, honestly, because she's leading y'all's pack. Like, if you're not, be like, hey, Digna, can I bother you for like 30 minutes on your lunch break, whenever you take lunch, just to talk to you? I'm sure Digna wouldn't say no. She probably helps a lot of people. I see her team growing. So these are the people you have to talk to. And Marissa, this is the game changer. I went to every conference. I didn't care if it was, and you know me, I flew from Virginia to Arizona with you guys a couple of years ago just to be with you guys. I didn't care because I wanted to be around that environment of success. And Sean White was like, Dean's here? Dude, you live on the East Coast. I was like, I know, I'm here because I want to learn. And it taught me so much. I got myself to an uncomfortable position. I learned to be comfortable in the most uncomfortable times that I did not want to be in. And it started by going to conference in 2018 when I had no money, Marissa. Mind you, I was flying from Virginia. I had a layover in Atlanta to go to Dallas. I'm doing this the whole time. I'm going down. I didn't realize Atlanta was the biggest airport in the entire world. I didn't realize you have to take trains to go from one terminal to another. I was looking and pacing, sweat dripping down my face, looking at how much money I had. I had like 515. Then it went down to 495. Shit, I got to book a hotel room. I don't know where to stay. I stayed in a dump that I paid $50 a night with negative 1-star rating because they had drug deals going on and around the corner. That's how bad it was. I didn't want to live that, but I was uncomfortable doing it. And I got comfortable because I was like, I'm going to go learn. I went to that meeting. Then I was like, ooh, where's the next meeting? I remember in Florida a few years ago, they had a meeting. I lived in Tampa. They had a meeting in Miami. I called the guy that was looking. I said, hey, can I speak at your meeting? I don't have shit to say, but I like to speak. He goes, yeah, I would love to have you. Because I wanted to do things that were uncomfortable.
I
Who
love
would have
that.
learned something from me? I don't know, but I was like, this is going to get me to the next level. And that's where the road took me. Like this meeting we have in October, man, everybody should be there. What's going to cost you? $600 to fly there? Business write-off, you need it. Hotel, business write-off, you need it. You can't claim it, you need it. But you're going to learn in those 2 days, and then you guys have a lock-in 2 more days afterwards to close out on it. Like, that's huge. You should be begging Marissa to put you on the list. Like, Marissa, you don't even have to ask people. You put them on the list. My mentor put me on the list. And he told me, if you don't show up, I don't want to work with you. Click. That's what you have to do as a leader, Marissa, to be uncomfortable. Seriously. You want to work with me? Then I need you to do what I'm asking you to do. If you don't want to, bye. Because how are you going to get ahead in life if you don't challenge yourself, if your leaders don't challenge you with you?
Yeah.
That's what taught me a lot, Marissa, over the last 7 years. Sean might call me one day. He goes, I love you, dude, but you're fucking stupid for making that post on Facebook. And I posted something how sick I was. He goes, it's not helping your business. I'm like, if he either hates me or he just like wants me to succeed. That's how I looked at it. So I deleted the post and I thanked him. I go, thank you, Sean. He goes, I love you, bro. Keep crushing it. Like, that's the leadership you have to be a part of mentally. Because if you're going to offer this opportunity to anybody else, let's say Desiree wants to offer this to like 10 other people, you need to challenge all 10 people and say, hey, you need to be here. If you don't, I don't want to work with you. Sorry. Find somebody else that's going to be more suitable for you. But that's what taught me how to get ahead. This is why I'm so freaking hungry, even to this day. 7 years with FFL, man, I'm hungrier than I ever was.
Yeah. And it's crazy, Dean, because everything you're saying is not like it's amazing, but it's not some special thing that you do that nobody else can do. And guys, that's what's so hard about these calls is I think a lot of times people get on these calls and they're expecting to have some secret sauce. And it's like, guys, every top producer that we ever have on our calls, that it's like they're saying the same stuff, it obviously with their own words, which is amazing, but it's like he gets more leads than you, he calls more clients than you, he works more hours than you, he doesn't give up on the objections as much as you do, he sacrifices more time in his schedule. Like it's not rocket science. Like Dean is not, and Dean, I love you, but like he's not smarter than any of us, right? Like he's not doesn't have this like
I dropped out of college. I didn't finish college. Community college.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is fucking stupid. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of the system of like, here, take this business degree and earn $30,000 a year. I did that without a degree. I'm a freaking immigrant from freaking Bosnia. I migrated to this country as a freaking immigrant when I was moved around because of a war. I am nothing special, Marissa. I'm really not. I'm honored to be here because I can share with you my experiences. But all I did, Marissa, I copied and pasted everything that everybody else did.
Yeah.
I never thought I'll be like the top producer. Not when I first, I'm like, haha, yeah, right, me. I just want to pay my bills. Here we are, 7 years later. I'm still thriving in this business because I freaking love it. And the amount of resources we have, my God, if you don't take advantage of them. The meetings, the leads, the trainings, the mentorship, the support. And if you start reading the dumb shit on Facebook, oh my God, FFL sucks. Yeah, they failed at it. Congratulations, listen to a freaking loser that didn't do anything. That's not what you want to be around. You know when people try to recruit me from a different company, I'm like, yeah, can you match this? Well, we could, but I'm like, okay, click. Like, why? Why am I going to sacrifice the relationships I've built here, the community that I have here, the resources, the freaking resources? And you got people going, I'm going to start my own IMO. Congratulations, you'll be back. We've seen that happen too. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Perfect the craft that you have here. Basically put your own ingredients within the recipe that exists to make it your niche. and take it to the level where you never thought it could be. It can happen in a matter of no time, as long as you focus on it. I'm not special. Marissa's not special. All she did was like, all I gotta do is call people. Cool, let's go. Desiree, call people. Let's go. Digna, crushing it, calling people. Let's go. We got people on our team like freaking doing like 100 grand a month in IULs. Why? Because they just invest in themselves. They work 6 days a week. Guess what? When they make 100 grand in a bank account, they can take 2 weeks off comfortably. That's how you do it here. That's what I do. I love vacations. I take them on as much as I can, but I got to earn them.
Dean, I have one more question for you. I want to ask real quick.
Any question?
I think that even though we're really we're talking more about annuities, the SRS, we have a really great training on Thursdays, which you host sometimes. I still think the idea of annuities and using all side of your license to our agency is sometimes people are a little freaked out about it, a little scary. I still haven't written one. I've been here a long time. I haven't written one. I tried once. It didn't go good. Okay. But anyway, my point is, Dean, at what point did you start like understanding like I should be looking into annuities? Were you ever nervous that like, oh, I don't know enough or I don't know what to do? Or how did that addition, I mean, $2 million in annuities, you're going to do 3 million, I mean, like in the next couple of weeks, how did that start helping your business and how did you get into that?
I wrote my first annuity 45 days in my business in 2018. Why? Because my mentor told me about annuities. I was like, this is brilliant. You mean they can't lose money? They don't pay management fees? Phenomenal. I'm telling everybody about it. Why? Because I saw the dividend return on it, right? Not for just for the client, but also for myself on a commission level. So the first client I sat with, I said, hey, what do you have that would pay your wife out if you died outside of life insurance? Oh, I have this 401k. Cool. Let me call my mentor real quick, my manager real quick. I think he can help you with that. And I called them and I put the phone on the table and I had them listen to them have a conversation on speakerphone. And he told him about it. He goes, hey, we'll be back next week. I'll bring you an illustration to show you how we can protect it. We go back next week. He writes a policy. We're sitting there till midnight, almost at night, mind you. I'm writing a life insurance policy, 4,000 AP with America. He's writing a $376,000 annuity, and we split it 50-50. I'm like, that's it? Yep. Congrats. You just made 7 grand. Oh, that was fucking easy. All I did is ask him, what else do you have that will pay out in case of your death outside of life insurance? Well, I have this kind of thing. Okay, what's that look like today? And I learned from it. So every appointment, I'm like, hey, what else do you have that acts like life insurance? What else do you have like, oh, okay, what else do you have? What else do you have? What else do you have? Boom, 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 boom. I wrote over $1 million in annuities my first year.
Wow.
Because that's what I was taught. The sad part is, Marissa, and I'll be honest with everybody here, you guys don't take advantage of it because you just look to get paid really, really fast. And then guess what happens? Some of these clients don't want the policy because you had commission breath day one and now you have a chargeback. You don't focus on the full financial picture. When I talk to people, Marissa, whether it's on the phone or in person, I am their financial advisor. And I tell them, hey, Marissa, my job today is really, really simple. I'm going to help you in all aspects of life financially. It's not just about giving you a policy, because if I wanted to sell you something, I would have sent Joe down the road. He would have spent 5 hours with you to talk about 200 different products, and you would still not buy from him. My job's not to sell you. My job's to help educate you at the very best. Okay? I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about your finances. Why is that important? Because I need to analyze what losses are at stake if you die tomorrow. Make sense? Perfect. Then I'm going to spend 5 to 10 minutes to talk about your medical history, current and past, because I'm not the one that's going to approve you here. The insurance company is, but I'm going to help get you the best possible solution based on your life, age, health, and lifestyle. Okay. And then when we do find something that's suitable, we're going to send over a request to see if you can even get qualified. Marissa, do you have any questions about my process? If she says no, I just eliminated all the objections. Perfect. Here are the next steps. They're going to ask you for your social security number because they're going to look at your medical history. They're going to ask you for your driver's license to make sure you don't have any DUIs and you don't like to street race down the road. And they're going to ask how you're going to pay them, through checking or savings. Do you have any questions about that process? Nope. Good to go. I need your driver's license and everything else. You eliminate that early on, and it doesn't take long. You tell them what the process looks like. It's so simple. But you have to become an advisor. So like if I'm working with somebody who has a mortgage, I need to understand how mortgage payoff work. I need to understand what the interest rates look like. And you need to understand what probate is. This is the biggest downfall for everybody. If, let's say, Marissa is married to Mike and Mike's the only one on the mortgage and he dies, Marissa can't just be like, it's my house. It doesn't work like that. They're going to put a lock on the door in a matter of 60 days and foreclose her and put her into probate until she can pay it off. Or if she can at least, if she's at least on what's called a deed or some kind of trust or an estate plan. This is what you have to educate the consumer on. So if you're doing mortgage protection, or if you're doing, let's say, IUL or final expense, and you find out that they have a mortgage, you need to understand what probate is all about and understanding and how those rules work on a general standpoint. If you don't explain that, well, your son will get this $20,000 policy to sell it in a year because he's got 1 year worth of payments. It doesn't work like that. I wish it worked, but it doesn't. They're going to still foreclose on it. So if I have, let's say, a 65-year-old client that can't cover $200,000 in a mortgage because of their medical condition, hey, perfect. Who's going to be the person responsible for this house so they can preserve the equity when you die? It's going to be my son. Great. Is your son on the deed? No. Do you have a trust? No. I'm sorry to tell you, Miss Mary, he can't just take the house, but what we can help you out was make sure that he can at least negotiate with the lender to preserve the equity that's within it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a plan in place to buy him at least 2 years worth of time. The second thing you're going to have to do is call your mortgage company and put him on the deed so he can legally sell it for a short period of time and do what's called a fire sale. Sell it quickly before they come back and take it away from him. The third you're probably going to want to do is get a trust attorney taken care of. And I'll leave him with a website, which is called avo.com. I'll put it in the chat box. Avo.com is a search engine for local attorneys. They can go type in their website and say probate attorney, and every probate attorney in a zip code is listed there. That's where you want to point them. You need to be the advisor, not just a salesperson. The moment you try to sell them is the moment you lose. They may buy it right away, but guess what? They're going to feel the pressure. Be like, ooh, that $300 payment, it's about to come out. Let me call the company and cancel. They're not going to call you. But when you build financial value, what the solution, not the product, solution to that problem is going to be, now you're winning with every client. Your retention ratio is going to go up. And next thing you know, you have a client for life. And then a year to two later, you can call them back and review the policy and add more coverage, ask for referrals, or put them in a better spot. This is what you have to do every single appointment. So my encouragement to all you guys is don't rush your meetings when you talk to somebody. Take your time with them a little bit. They will thank you. And guess what? Because a lot of you guys are doing telesales, when you hang up the phone and you finish your sale, take your little video, put your little smiley face on. Hey, Miss Mary, I just want to say, thank you so much for allowing me to help you today. This is my cell phone number. This is me. I'm a real person. Anything you need, please save my number. Thank you so much. And you're sending a personalized voice video recording of yourself and saying thank you. You know how powerful that is? Huge in retention, like huge. They want to know that you're a real person. Like that's a huge, solidifying moment for the very end. I did that with people when I did telesales for a short while. I still have policies in the books to this day because of it, because of that little gesture. Above and beyond. I learned that in the hospitality business. I worked in country clubs, Marissa. I worked in restaurants, high-end restaurants. We were taught to go above and beyond. Do the things that nobody wants to do, and that's how you win. And especially in this business, because this is very emotional connection here with people. So I hope this helped you guys. I really do. I mean, this is something that is simple stuff. I'm not special. I just learned a lot of things by asking a lot of questions along the way. I went to meetings. I talked to leaders, and I wasn't afraid to ask, hey, how did you do this? Oh, I bought $5,000 worth of leads. Perfect. Same. That's how I went ahead.
Wow. Dean, this has actually been amazing. Otherwise, I've just been shutting up because I'll just let you keep talking till 10 o'clock at night or whatever it is.
I can talk all night if you want me to. If anybody has questions, I'm open. If you guys want to stick around for 10, 15 minutes for questions, I'm here. I don't care.
This is huge. Well, honestly, I don't see an opportunity that we get this very often. So I think we're going to do it, guys. If Dean's open to it, we'll stay on. For those of you that need to hop off, I know it's late on the East Coast or whatever it is, or some of you guys got to get back to dialing. That's fine. Otherwise, guys, drop your questions in the chat. We'll go 10 more minutes and we'll get some questions from Dean. But Dean, this has been phenomenal. I hope you guys are also taking notes because a lot of the stuff that he's saying is stuff that he actually uses in his meetings. So you can say those things, in your meetings tomorrow, whatever it is. So guys, drop your questions in the chat, or I can unmute you. Ileana, I unmuted you, so there you go. I just don't want everybody asking at once. Go ahead, girl.
Hey guys, Dean, amazing hour here, took amazing notes. My question is, how do you filter between individuals that are just like researching versus someone that's kind of like ready to move forward? Because I think kind of filtering like who really is a good investment of your time. I do IULs, I do telesales, and I'll take an hour and a half. I'm very thorough with my clients. And it's just very frustrating when they say, well, okay, well, I'll think about it. Like, I think I need to get better at filtering who's interested and who's really not.
You should honestly, in the first 2 to 4 minutes, you will find out who is serious, who's not. But you have to be very, very intentional about asking direct questions. Hey, Mary, when you took time to request this, how long were you searching for this kind of stuff? Like, how long were you looking into this kind of solution for yourself? That's the first thing you want to ask. Perfect. Have you had this plan before? No. Wonderful. Have you ever applied for life insurance before? Or do you have a life insurance policy currently? Great. If they say yes, ask what kind of policy it is, and then compare the two things that they wanted to look at and what they have. If they don't have a life insurance policy, ask them why. Why were you looking at this today? What was your primary reason for this? Were you looking to get rich quick, if it's an IUL, or were you looking for more of a long-term return on your investment? What's the goal here? Have to understand what their goals are, but you do that within the first 2 to 4 minutes. If they're just like, well, I'm just shopping around, perfect. Okay, well, what are you shopping for? Ask uncomfortable questions. Well, I'm just looking to see if I can get 10 grand in the next six months. That's not for you. I'm sorry. If you're looking for longevity on a plan and some life insurance, that's what I can help you with. Otherwise, I can't help you in that department. This is why we have leads. I never allowed anybody to waste my time because my time is valuable. Every lead that I get, I treat it as if it's a $400 ticket of a deposit immediately. I just have to see how many of them I can collect right away. Same thing if you're calling or booking your appointments. Every lead is worth 400. Why do I say 400? Because at the bare bottom of the barrel, it's at least an accidental policy that's worth $400 annual premium, right? So every lead to me is worth $400 minimum. My job is to kind of, like I said in the beginning, each individual has an emotional attachment to filling out a request. They already have a bleeding wound on their wrist. I need to cut that wound open as much as I can. If I have to pour salt on it, I will, right? But my job is to preserve the bleeding and put a permanent patch on it. But we have to do that by asking a lot of questions up front. I think a lot of people get excited when they come into this business. They realize, hey, I can make a lot of money fast. Great. The moment you start having a commission breath tonality by making it about a sale right away, you'll lose immediately. And that's where a lot of people end up failing. I did too, trust me. I learned from this. This is why I was not afraid of failing it early on. But I had to get uncomfortable asking a lot of those questions. And I learned those questions by attending different meetings and asking different people along the way to get better at that. So don't be afraid to challenge them. As much as it's uncomfortable for you, that's where you want to be. Like I have an agent I work with. She's a Hall of Fame producer. I'm like, she started getting some charge, but I'm like, are you asking these questions about their money? He's like, I never did. I'm uncomfortable. But that's what you have to do. Hey, what's your income? 5,000. What's your mortgage? 2,000. Boom, 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 boom. All the expenses. Because at the end of the day, you can say, thank you for sharing it, because I want to make sure that whatever we find you fits within your discretionary budget. If it's putting you in a negative, I don't want to put you in that. I'm not the guy or gal to do that to you. But I want to make sure this makes financial sense to you, not just to me, okay? Perfect. Then you continue. So get really good at that. Once you really get a comfortable position to ask that on a like literally repetitive basis every appointment, then you start to win. And you'll really start exposing what it is that they really, really want. The problem with a lot of these IUL advertisements, they don't talk about the longevity of the investment. It makes it seem like, oh, wow, I can make money fast. It's not the case. So we have to explain that to them and then understand what it is that they're getting. And then you have to explain, hey, how's your background check? How's your financial standpoint? How's your medical? If none of those align, you won't be able to get it. But I can still get you protection for your family. So let's look at that instead. So I think that's the key takeaway. What I think you should probably start doing a little bit more of it, and that's going to help you out along the way.
That's huge, Dean. Someone asked, how do you ask for referrals?
Perfect. So Marissa, I've helped you out this afternoon. So it looks like your beneficiary is your brother Mike. The phone number you provided to Mike, is it a good number to contact him?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I'm gonna do when I step out, I'm gonna give Mike a quick call, let him know that I'm your insurance agent. So in case anything happens to you, he needs to call me so I can help him get paid fast. Okay? Does that sound good for you? Do I have your permission to call him?
Yes.
Perfect. So as soon as I leave the house or I hang up, I'll call the beneficiary and say, "Hey, Mike, this is Dean. You don't know me, but I just met with your sister Marissa, and I just helped her get protection, and you're the beneficiary on that policy. So in case anything happens to her, God forbid, in a untimely manner, I want you to save this number. This is my personal cell phone. I'll be the guy to help you expedite that claims process really fast." Okay. And by the way, she also said that you might also benefit from the same policy that I got her. When's a good time to talk to you?
That's
I
huge.
don't need your permission. I just call you beneficiary.
How often would you say that you sell a referral on a beneficiary? What percent of the time?
I would probably say 20 to 30%, not as much as I like to. But people still refer me to their family members like on their own because they're like, wow, this is great. And I ask them, hey, do you have any siblings, anybody else that can benefit from this? And they'll tell you right away. But using the beneficiary analogy is one way to kind of, get yourself in an uncomfortable spot and call them. There's nothing wrong with introducing, but ask for permission. Don't just do it out of the blue. Can I call your beneficiary, let them know that I'm the person? Or if you want to call them right now, give them a call and introduce myself. We'll go from there. And then you can kind of like ask some more direct questions. It's very, very easy. Some people do the like, hey, can you put 3 references on a sheet? I think that's kind of weird. I'm not trying to sell you a car, To me, I never liked that option, but I like to build value on like, okay, hey, if your mom is your beneficiary, I'm going to call her, let her know I'm your agent. And she also thought that I maybe also help you out, whether you have a policy or not. She recommended me to call you as well. Is there a good time to talk? If you don't want my services, that's okay, no problem. You move on to the next lead. But if she wants your services, now you have a free referral, right? So just be very intentional about it. It's more emotional connection when you call the person that they're on their beneficiary list, in my opinion. So make sure you get those phone numbers.
Yeah. Dean, if you hired a part-time agent right now, what would your focus for them be on, like their schedule? Would you tell them to start out with mortgage, final expense? How many leads would they be buying? What would your recipe for like part-time agents starting out?
First and foremost, I want to spend at least a good amount of time and talk to them about their current schedule. What does that look like from Monday through Sunday? It's very important. If they're working from a 9 to 5, okay, well, what are they doing from 6 to 9? Are they getting up? Do they get the kids ready? What's that look like? Okay. What does their, 5:30, 6 p.m. to 10 o'clock look like? And then if someone tells me, let's say I have an agent say, hey, I want to do this, but I don't have a lot of time in the weekdays, but my weekends are wide open. Perfect. How many of those weekends can you sacrifice in a month? 1 weekend, 2, 3, all 4? Well, some weekends, we take the kids here. Perfect. So how many weekends is that? Well, it's 2 weekends out of the month. So the other 2 weekends, you're fully available. Got it. So what do you want out of this business during the downtime is the first question I would ask. Why did you want to do this part-time? Like, are you looking to replace your current position? If so, then we need to focus on having 3 months of discretionary income saved so that you can pay your bills on the back end. Or are you looking to just to kind of like make money as you go? If you're looking to make money as you go, then there's not much really I can teach on that, honestly, Marissa. It's going to be up to them what they want. If they want to sacrifice the time, let me know. But if it's somebody intentional that wants to, hey, I want to do this full time. I'm tired of my 9 to 5. I hate my boss. I hate my job, whatever the case is. Then we're going to really focus on using every bit of downtime that we can to convert it into sales. Now, on a part-time, if you're doing this part-time, you should be investing 500 to 650 a week in leads, no matter what. That's 40 prospects, minimum, dead drop minimum. Because out of those 40, you're going to probably talk to 20 of them, and you'll probably close 5 or 6 on average. That's still 3 to 5 grand on average per week. And then you should focus on saving 80% of that in a side account and use the other 20% and reinvest it in your leads every single week to get ahead. You should have 90 days of reserve saved to pay your bills so you can go full-time here. Because now you have money saved that you can still pay your bills comfortably, live within your means. Don't tell them not to spend their money. Like when I started a business, Marissa, I didn't drive nice cars in my first 3 years. I lived in an 1,100 square foot apartment with my girlfriend at the time before we got engaged. We live within our means. I had a car with 300,000 miles. I didn't care. It made me money. When I started evolving, I'm like, cool, I'm going to reward myself. I worked hard for this. But I live within my means my first couple of years. And that's what every part-timer should do here. Just because you make 10, 20 grand a month, you don't splurge it. You 80% set it aside, put it in a small little interest-bearing account that you have, like a money market savings, let it occur, whatever, the 20% back into your business, because your actual day job is going to pay your bills. You still live on your 9 to 5. Everything else you set aside until you have 3 months reserves. Then you go full time. That's what I would do.
I love it. All right, Dean, last question. We're getting a little specific about an objection. So I know you talked about this a lot. Do you ever get the I need to think about it objection anymore?
I do. If they start BSing with me, I don't waste time. Honestly, I really don't.
How do you either overcome that or combat that in the beginning, that I need to think about
Well,
it?
first and foremost, if you get that objection throughout your conversation, that means you didn't set proper expectations in the beginning, honestly. You failed in the beginning. And that's okay. That's how you learn, right? What didn't you ask? If they tell you, well, I need to think about perfect, well, what part did you want to think about the most? Was it does the plan not make any sense, or does it make sense and it's not the right fit for you? We all know it's the cost, right? If they say they need to think about it, it's a money issue. We all know that. Now you can tell them, hey, Marissa, most people that tell me that they need to think about it is obviously because of the monthly premium is a little bit out of their range. Is this your concern? 99.9 will say, yeah, I'm not really sure I want to pay that amount. Okay, great. However, you need coverage because you don't have any right now. What other financial assets does your family have to has currently as a backup if you didn't wake up yesterday? Well, I really don't have anything. Perfect. So we know that a funeral is going to cost 15 to 20,000. We know you wanted to be buried traditionally. Your daughter's going to be the one picking up the pieces when you die. Is your daughter prepared to take 20 grand out of her savings account to pay for it? Does she have that ready tomorrow? No. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I know you wanted 50,000. I'm going to start you at 20. That's going to cost you $70 a month, not 140. In 6 months, Marissa, I'm going to call you back. Okay. I'm going to reevaluate your situation all over again. Okay. See where your finances are at that point. If I can help improve you in 6 months to a year, we're good. If you want to keep where you're at, phenomenal. I'm not going to be upset. I'd rather you start out small than go into anything heavy now, because right now that 50,000 sounds good, but I don't want you calling me in 3 months and say, hey, I can't afford it. Because guess what that's going to do? It's going to put your daughter in a tight spot. We don't want to do that. But how do you eliminate that, right? You paint the picture of reality. And I learned this from Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt did a really, really good job a few years ago in a training. And he talked about a meeting he had with an older lady. And he sat with her. He said, hey, Miss Mary, what do you have right now? Like, do you have anything that you keep all your secret stash, a hidden box of your private paperwork belongings that are precious to you, that are worth of value? Yeah, great. Perfect. Your daughter, Ashley, is the one that's going to be responsible for finding all this, right? Yep. And how long do you think it would take Ashley to discover that you passed away? How long would it take her to find out that you're no longer around? Would it take a day, 2, a week, a month? God, that's a really good question. I don't know. But see, when you ask that, they start to think. Now they're thinking emotionally, not, on a financial standpoint. Well, maybe a week, okay. And in that week time frame, how long do you think Ashley would have notice to be able to get, leave her job and come out and clear everything out of your house? I don't know. I really haven't thought about that, okay. And if Ashley walks into that secret space where your stuff is, does she expect a life insurance policy? No. Well, when I leave here today, she's going to find a life insurance policy tomorrow. You need to set that expectation ahead of time. Emotional value will outsell itself every single time based on cost. And those objections are going to become very minimal, if not at all. You have to paint that reality. How many of you guys have kids? A lot of you, I'm assuming?
A lot on here, yeah.
Picture yourself in this. And I'm not trying to cause any emotional damage, but this is reality, right? Sit down tonight and imagine your life in your household without you present. And imagine you don't have anything financially backed up. And imagine what they would have to do. If you're a single parent, who is going to be responsible for your kids tomorrow? Do they have money? Or if you are a husband who's the breadwinner and your wife and is a stay-at-home mom, takes care of the kids, the house, is she forced to go and leave that house and stay and sleep in a basement floor or somewhere else until she figures things out financially? This is why we do this. Take your own life and imagine without your financial support, life insurance, and everything else, and relate yourself to that person that you're speaking to on the other line of the phone. That's how you sell life insurance to a high level. Objections are very minimal. I can still get them. I'm not perfect, but I'm like, okay, if you don't want it, I'm gone. I'm like, cool, whatever. I don't care. I'll go to the next person. Or no-shows. People get emotional no-shows. Cool, call the next person. You know, how many of you guys call and set appointments for the next day to call them back and close a deal? How many of you guys do that? Let me give you one tip. So Desiree, a couple of, okay, great.
I would say the majority of people do that.
Okay, so let's say, Desiree, you're calling on a Monday to book appointments for Tuesday. Hey, John, what time would be good, good to get back to you? Oh, 5 o'clock's perfect. And how many times you call John and he doesn't pick up the phone? Many times, right? You call him and you get no show. Here's what you want to do, Desiree. Hey, John, when I call you at 5 o'clock tomorrow, I will call you as many times as it takes to make sure you're okay so that you're good for a meeting. Is there any issue if I call you 10 times in a row?
Wow.
If there's an issue, oh, yeah, I don't want you calling me tomorrow. Okay, great. So it sounds to me like, John, you're not taking this serious, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that I can take the 5 o'clock spot with somebody else that wants to protect their family. Why would you want to waste your freaking time on no-shows? Close it, edify it. Hey, I'm going to call you. Are you going to be okay if I call you 3 to 4 times? The only reason I want to call you that many times if you don't answer is just to make sure nothing happened to you, because I know you wanted to protect your family moving forward because this is important to you. Make sense? Perfect. So now you eliminate your no-show ratio by doing that. Like, I call people when I go to people's house. I'm like, cool. There's a Ring camera. I'm like, yeah, you're not here. Are you okay? Or what I used to do back in the day, I still do it sometimes. If I knock on the door and they don't answer, but I see the car, I'll text them, hey, Mike, I'm here for a meeting. Are you okay, or do I need to do a 911 wellness check? They come running to the door. I'm here. Oh, good. You scared the shit out of me. I wanted to make sure you're okay. You get uncomfortable. It's okay. What are you going to do? Slam the door or hang up on you? Cool. I'll call the next person. Don't be afraid to do the things that nobody else wants to do. That's my biggest advice in this business. Just say, hey, I'll call you 10 times in a row if you don't answer. I just want to make sure you're okay because I know you wanted to protect your family. This was important to you. I don't want you missing out the opportunity of doing so because guess what? I really don't have time to call you back the next day. I really don't. I have thousands of people to call. We're busy, and I do 50 states. So be intentional about that every single time if you're setting your appointments. That's going to help you tremendously.
That's huge. Dean, this has honestly been phenomenal. Everyone's like raving about it. This is so good. Thank you so much for hopping on with us tonight and for staying extra. And don't forget that you said you're coming to our lock-in in October because I'll remind you about it. So
Yeah,
make
please
sure you
send me
put it on
around,
your
blow me
calendar.
up. If I said I'm going to be there, I'll definitely be there. And I'll do a lot of cool stuff with you guys. Just bring like a whiteboard with a dry erase board or something. I'm going to give you guys some really good points on discovering the money, building value for the client. We'll do like some role play, like, married couple, singles, whatever. I'll tell you what I do, what's worked for me, that I've duplicated from many other top producers. That's going to help you guys out tremendously so that you guys can actually take the rest of the day and the next day and really close out your deals even better along the way. So we'll work on that.
Well, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Like I said, I can't say enough about it. I can't say thanks enough. We're honored. And of course, tell Shauna I said hi.
Definitely will.
Girl, so make sure she knows, and we're just excited to have you. So thanks so much, Dean. All right, guys, back to the phones or to bed or wherever the heck you guys are off to do. And I will see you on the call in 2 weeks. Thanks, Dean.
See you guys. Take care.